So I'm doing a little bit of an experiment today. I'm going to carve a barn owl in a perched pose. I'm going to show you the tools I'm using at each stage of the carve and try and show you the techniques. Just to answer a lot of questions that I'm being asked sort of constantly, and maybe help a few people out. And you may find it useful, you may not, but let's see how it goes. So I've picked this piece of larch. It's just a piece that's been sitting in the workshop for a while. It's a good shape for an owl, I think. It's not necessarily my favourite wood to carve, but it should come out okay. It's a fairly stable piece of wood, I think. So that's what we're going to carve. Generally, when I'm carving, I just print out a load of sort of reference pictures of the subject in different positions, so I can just see it from all the angles and kind of grasp what I'm trying to do. So I've been doing an owl with the wings up. It was the last thing I did, but now I'm aiming for something along these lines. Just an image I pulled off the web, kind of just like the sort of scruffy looking feathers, really. Just, it's not all perfect, and you know, birds in the wild generally aren't perfect, so it's I think it's just a good one to try and have a go at. As far as saws go, I've got 4 cordless chainsaws that I use daily, really. For this job, it's quite a small job, so I'll only be using a couple of saws for this, but this is the biggest cordless saw I've got. It's got an 18-inch bar on it. It's an MSA 300. Use that mostly for blocking stuff out, really, but I don't need that today. That's too small a job for that. This one's pretty much a standard MSA 220 with the standard bar on it, standard 14-inch bar. It's fairly aggressive for what we're doing today, so I probably won't use that configuration today. This is another MSA 220, but I've taken the drive sprocket from the MSA 200, so that I can use the smaller 1/4-inch Pico chain, which is a much finer chain. If you can see that there compared to let's put them close together. You can see the difference in the chain there, so we can get a much neater, finer cut with that. It'll cut a bit quicker as well. Also gets blunt a lot quicker, but that should be fine for what we're doing today. That's actually the standard bar off the MSA 200, but as I said, I've changed the drive sprocket to accommodate on the MSA 220. And then for the finer shaping and detail, obviously I've got just a standard steel carving bar, again with a 1/4-inch Pico 1.1 chain on it, so we can get some nice fine details before we need any smaller tools. Right, let's get to it. So before we start, always safety first. Ear defenders, I use steel Bluetooth ear defenders. Don't necessarily need them with the electric saws, and I use them a lot, so it's good to use them. Also, I can listen to my music and take phone calls through these, so they're good. Minimum sort of eye protection. You can use a full face shield, which goes with these. I don't use it on a smaller job particularly, but at least, you know, some protection for your eyes. Gloves, and then pick up the saw. So the first stage is blocking out, just really getting rid of sort of the big bits of timber that we don't want. Not going to be a lot of waste on this, but some people will just cut a flat face on, sketch the shape of the owl, or whatever you're carving, and then use that as a profile and just cut around that. I tend to just, on a smaller piece, I tend to just go for it with the saw and just work back to the shape that I want. So it's just about getting the basic owl shape first, not worrying about detail or anything like that. We just want the very basic profile, sort of from the front and from the side. Get that right first, and then we've got something to put some detail onto. Right, so I've got a very basic owl shape. Just got rid of the sort of outer layer of timber and just got a very rough sort of shape to play with now. So first thing I do is basically start from the top and work my way down. So head and face, probably the hardest part to get right on an owl, I think. So if you look at an owl's face, there's quite a lot going on in terms of the detail. They've got a very prominent ridge on the sort of nose into the beak. Lots of different angles and pictures here. Give you a sort of idea of the shape we're trying to achieve. So they've got quite deep inset eyes. So I'm going to use the smaller saw to get that right. But my first couple of cuts are basically just to cut sort of two flat faces at an angle to each other, just to work with, so we end up with like a pointed face, and then we'll shape the eyes back in, and then the sort of ridge of the nose and the beak, and just work this ridge back. And there's sort of three main cuts, so two side cuts, and then we just take a sort of an eyebrow cut, and then a cheek, and then that'll give us the basic shape. You should see as I do that, I'll use the smaller saw for that. So all I've done is just basically cut the face at an angle. So you've got the two sides of the face to work with. And we've got the sort of ridge of the nose there, beak will be down here, and then we'll inset the eyes here. So I'll just crack on now and just work the shape back to get this nice ridge for his face, places for his eyes to go, and then we'll just shape the head back to a more refined shape just gradually. So hopefully we'll just play with the shape, just take little bits off at a time until I'm happy with the shape that I'm trying to achieve. And hopefully it looks something like that fella there. So a lot of using the carving bar on the face here is just about just shaving away to get the shape that you want. And so we're not doing big heavy cuts with it, we're just literally just using the tip of the saw, sort of the heel of the tip here, just very gently just shape back what you want. You don't take too much off too quickly. I'm quite cautious when I'm doing this. And owl faces, I mean, I've done loads of owls, but they're still not very easy to do. They're just a difficult face to get right. I think it's one of those eternal battles that you just do with yourself, just trying to get the perfect owl face. But again, I'll try and show you just how gently we're going with the saw here, just to try and shape out the side of the ridge of the nose and get in under the eyes, and just get the shape gradually, just bring the shape out until I'm where I'm happy. Eye sockets coming in there, there's enough room for the eyes to fit in there quite nicely. And I'm just going to shave back the sides of the face, and just literally using the tip of the saw again, just this heel section here, just literally just shaving back very gently. quite a difficult thing to get the hang of when you're first starting out. I certainly struggle with it a bit, just this using the bar to shave it. So I mean, if you're not confident with it, don't go straight onto your job with it. Just just pick a scrap bit of wood and just practice shaving with the tip of the saw and working out the shapes you can make with it. And once you're confident with how the saw creates the shape, then you have a better idea of how to create the shape you're after. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the basic face shape now. We've got the nice sort of ridge for the nose. You can see the eyes are going to be in here, beak's going to be down there, and it's got this nice curved shape, dished face going on. I think, yeah, that's a pretty good place to be to add some detail to in a bit. That's fine. So now I'm going to just refine the body shape a bit more using the same saw, just using the carving bar, and just mark in the sort of the main groups of feathers, because we're going to go quite detailed with this. So I'm just going to work out where the border lines of all the main feather groups are and mark them on. You could draw that on if you're not comfortable with just working away with the saw, or say like I'll just tend to go and sketch it on with the tip of the saw and just work my way around, and just gradually get the shape and the groups of feathers together. So looking at the owl, you can see he's got sort of tops of his wings and shoulders. There's a group here which they actually form kind of like a triangle down the back. Don't think I've got that displayed in a photo here anyway, but so that's one group we'll define, and then there's sort of the top of the wing feathers, sort of his shoulders here. This group is made up of sort of several lines of feathers really, so we'll just put them in, and then we get into sort of the primary sort of flight feathers. There's another quite prominent group here, we'll work that in, and then obviously the wing tips, they're sort of the last bit that we get to, probably one of the easier bits to do, but you don't tend to really see the tail on a barn owl, because a barn owl's got quite a short tail, and the wingtips, when they're in a perch position, the wingtips basically hide all that. So once we've got all the shape right, we might just have room to see a little bit of tail in between the wingtips at the back, but we'll just see how it progresses. I don't have a particular plan for that. We'll just let it evolve and see what happens. Okay, so I've got the basic feather groups marked out now. That's on one side anyway. The other side I've still got to do, just got to make sure that all matches up. But what I'm going to do first of all is just cut under the wingtip here, and the sort of tail, and just work out where I want the stump to finish. So he's sort of just perched on top, and the wingtips and the tail are just sort of free of everything. So you can see a bit of daylight basically. So we're just going to work that out. We'll use the bigger saw for that, or the bigger bar for that, because that's a bigger cut. You don't want to be doing bigger, heavier cuts with the carving bar. It's not made for that, and that'll just shorten the life of the bar. So we'll go back to the 14-inch. So it's really starting to take shape now. We've got nice shape going on, nice tapered body. got the main feather groups marked in, so I'm pretty happy with how he's looking so far. I've actually started to shape under the chest as well, you can see, just sort of cutting under the wings a bit. So yeah, he's not looking too bad. So now we're going to really get into the heavy detail. And don't forget, this is all chainsaw so far. We haven't used any other tools yet, so we're just going to get into the feathers. Again, I'll just start at the top and work my way down. And literally, we'll shape the individual feathers just using the tip of the saw. I'll try and show you as much detail as I can. And we just start, basically start at the top and work our way out. The feathers are in sort of, I tend to do them in rough lines. I don't want them too perfect because it just looks wrong then, but we'll cut a couple of sort of tip lines down there and then just work the individual feathers into those, but you'll see what I mean as we get going. So we've got all the main feather details in now, and he's really coming along quite nicely now. I think detailing the feathers is probably one of my favourite parts. You just keep playing with them as much or as little as you want until you get the effect you're after. Next we need to work out where his feet are going to go. So if we have a look at the reference material again, he sort of squat down a little bit, that one, so I mean, it's just over, I would say just over halfway down his body, in line with the bottom of these feathers here. That's about where we'll go for. So my proportions are probably slightly different on mine, but I think, yeah, roughly the feet probably want to be about there, I think. Okay, so we're getting on quite well now. He's got feet in the right place pretty much, and still a bit of detail to do there, but everything's pretty much where I want it to be. And yeah, overall pretty good so far, I think. So now we're going to switch from chainsaw to die grinder and get into the face details and start shaping the eyes and beak and claws. For that I'm using this flame burr. You can see that, focusing on that, there we go. So that's a coarse flame burr from Sabertooth in my Milwaukee cordless die grinder, and we're going to use that for getting into the eye cavities and getting the shape around the eyes, and just give the beak a bit of definition. Same around the claws and the feet, and maybe just tidy up a few little bits around the feathers where they don't quite. We're really ready to start getting into the final detail and really sort of bringing this fella to life. So I've used the die grinder, you can see, just to tighten up some of the feather details, just playing a bit. We've got better defined feet now, claws, and that's starting to look about right. And then we've got beak and eyes where they need to be. So now I'm going to really get into the detail on the face, and really sort of start to shape the sort of feather patterns around the face, and that will really bring that to life and really show the shape off. And I can make a lot of adjustments to the shape as I'm going with that. And the tool I use for that is power file or finger sander, mini belt sander, whatever you want to call it. This is a Makita one, and you see it's just a very narrow little belt sander. It's an excellent tool for detailing, sanding small spaces, and you can do well, you'll see I can do a lot of detail, finish the feathers off, and really make a difference to how the face and everything looks. So we'll start on that next and watch the transformation. Really started to bring the face to life now with a bit of detail with the power file. You can see that it's coming on really nicely. So I'm just going to go over the rest of the owl, feathers, feet, chest, in the same sort of fashion really, just with the power file, just literally tidying up everything, smoothing it out, and adding some extra details, and then we'll be nearly there. last jobs now on the actual owl is just tightening up the details a bit. So I just really sort of get into the eyes and define them a bit better, in the beak and claws as well. Just finish them off a bit. For that, I'm using my smaller rotary type tool, and we're going for, can't get the focus on that. Let's see if I can. That's a eye cutter tool from Sabertooth in the Whisper range. So it's the finest grit they do. You can really see that. Anyway, that's what we're using, so we'll crack on with that. See if we can get that focus. There we go, that's better. So that's a Sabertooth eye cutter bit in the Whisper range, and we're just going to use that around the eyes and beak and the claws, just tightening up any sort of finer details to really sort of get the edges nice and crisp. Spent a little bit of time just tightening up the detail, eyes, claws, feathers. Pretty happy now, there's not much left to do on that. So next we're going to add some colour to it. We're going to do that with a blowtorch, and that will really transform the look of the whole owl and make him look a lot more finished. There he is, all coloured up. Got a bit of life going on now. Just the base to finish off, and a coat of oil, and he's ready to go. So I'm just going to add some texture to the base, just make it look like a gnarly old trunk, a gnarly old tree stump. Just be doing that with a chainsaw and just playing with the textures really, and then we're there. There we go, all finished, ready to find a new home.